So the title of today is You're Growing More Than Flowers. And I'm going to share with you what that actually means here in a minute. But today I want to celebrate something truly beautiful. I want to celebrate mothers. And whether you're a mom yourself or you're thinking of the one who raised you, I want to take a moment to speak especially to the moms who may be feeling overwhelmed, underqualified, or, just plain tired, right? As moms typically do. But let me tell you the story about the title of the message. So my grandmother tells this story, and it's a beautiful one. She lived, my grandfather, he worked hard. He was a truck driver, ended up opening a restaurant. That's how I got into the restaurant business as well. But, as you can imagine, with your husband working all the time, she had, at that time, I think there were three kids, and, mother of three, basically single mom. Her husband's always working, and she felt overwhelmed. She felt tired. My grandmother is one of those ladies who she likes the house in order, right? She likes to have the nice things put where they need to go and, look nice and be able to entertain when people would come over and have, you know what I mean? Like just it's she wants everything in order and wants her house to be impressive, right? But with three kids and basically a kind of a single mom because her husband's working all the time, that wasn't always the way it was. And obviously my father and my uncle, were literally just from what I hear, they would just tear up the house all the time, just like bulls in a china shop 24/7. And so she also liked, having a garden and things like that, which hers, she didn't have time to put into it to make it look good. But her neighbor, who, if I remember the story correctly, was, kind of a persnickety woman. She had this perfect garden, and everything was always perfect, and her hair was never out of place. And one day, my grandfather was there with her this day, and she was looking through the window, and she was looking across, at the neighbor's house, and she could see her perfect garden, and she just broke down, in this sadness and kind of almost despair and just breaking down that she had fallen short. She couldn't get the garden in order. She couldn't keep the house in order. She was tired. The kids were running around screaming, fighting. The house was a mess. And she said that my grandfather came up, wrapped his arms around her and said, Nona, and Nona, he called her Nona May. That was her name is Nona. He said, Nona May, you're growing more than flowers. And it's such a beautiful thing that, and you have to keep from getting emotional if you've been a parent yourself, that how many times in life do we feel that way, right? Overwhelmed, especially mothers. You put so much on yourself, and it's what makes you who you are. But it's you feel overwhelmed, you feel tired, and I want you to remember today that you're growing more than flowers, right? And let's start with what the Bible says about that. The Bible says in Proverbs 14:4, he says, "Where there are no oxen, the manger is clean, but abundant crops come by the strength of the ox." Now, I know this isn't your typical kind of go to Mother's Day verse, but hang with me for a second. What this verse is saying is that if you want a neat, tidy life, sure, keep the stable empty. No oxen, no mess. But guess what? No oxen means no progress, no harvest, no life. Now think of your house. You got what? Toys on the floor, dishes in the sink, laundry's piling up. But that's not a sign of failure. That's a sign that life is happening right then and there. You're you're raising little humans, pouring out your love, giving them your all every single day and night, even when you feel like it's not enough. And moms, let me just speak something directly to your heart is that you are not a bad mom because your house is messy. You are not a bad mom because you lose your patience sometimes, or maybe you don't have it all together sometimes, right? You're a human mom, and God sees every act of love, every whispered prayer, every moment of surrender. The real measure, of success in your life isn't a spotless house. It's not perfectly behaved kids. It's this: are you sharing the love of Jesus Christ with your children? Are you pointing them, even with your imperfections, towards the one who is perfect? Because when you love them with grace, when you apologize after losing your temper, when you pray for them at bedtime, or show them how to be kind, you are planting seeds of faith that will grow throughout their generations and the generations to follow. So today, I want you to take rest in this and comfort in this that your messy, noisy, beautiful life, it's on holy ground, and you're doing better than you think you are, right? You're doing better than you think you are. So God is proud of you. I am proud of you, and I wish you a happy Mother's Day. So take care and God bless, and we'll see you back next time.